Good evening and welcome to another edition of Ask the Leader with me, Wayne Fitzgerald, the leader indeed of Peterborough City Council. It's your chance as residents or whoever to come online and ask me anything you like. Or you can write in, it's dead easy. All you have to do is email asktheleader@peterborough.gov.uk. And just to set the scene for tonight, we've got about 7 questions and one person on screen in front of us. It's David, a local man from Peterborough. But I just want to clear something up from last time, if I may. I didn't know I was that popular. So sometimes we can't get people to come on in person because they simply don't want to appear on screen, but they do write to us all the time. So the last edition of Ask the Leader, we replied to the people that took part in writing because none of them were available or some of them were just camera shy. So just to clear that up, because there was some speculation on social media. So we did it, but they were replied to in person. But what we will do, because people rightly said, well, we don't know what the questions were or what the answers were. So in future, I think we'll do them regardless. There could be some. In fact, last time there's only 2, and tonight there are 7 questions. So we shall move into the first question tonight. And on screen is David Jost, who is a local man. So David, over to you. What would you like to ask?
Good evening, Mr. Fitzgerald, and good evening to anybody who's watching this this event. I live in the Gladstone district. I want to tell you that 24 years ago, Peterborough City Council promised major redevelopment for an area known as North Westgate. Some buildings are demolished to provide some temporary car parks. Other buildings were boarded up, but absolutely nothing else happened. My neighbourhood has been blighted by the council's neglect, dereliction close to the city centre. Councillors and officers have reassured me that plans will be unveiled soon, but how can the people of Peterborough have any confidence that anything will happen before another 20 years has gone by?
Oh my. So I entirely agree with you and share those frustrations, because I, as well as being the leader of the council in the car, I'm just a normal person, just like everybody else. I'm a ratepayer, a taxpayer, and it is very frustrating that there's no sign of any visible progress to get the North Westgate redevelopment underway. Joining me tonight, though, is Nick Carter. I'm sure he'll introduce himself in a moment. He's from our growth and regeneration team, so I'm sure he'll have words to say as well. But it's rather timely, David, that you asked this question, because it's something that Nick, I and other members have been working behind the scenes of late quite busily in order to bring a development forward. But can I just start off by saying, you know, it is not the city council's land. We can be facilitators, and by and large, the ownership of the land is in private ownership in terms of, you know, it's nothing to do with us. Latterly, we've acquired some houses on Cromwell Road, not all of them again, so there are a number of owners, but we own, you know, half a dozen or so, and we've only been doing that since about 2017. So it's not that the council had a financial stake in the land for some considerable time, and I would say that some of the landowners have been there for 25 years plus, and so far have failed to bring forward any development, or they might talk about it, but nothing's actually been delivered. So that's why I share that frustration, but it remains our clear intention to see this site redeveloped, and we and I fully recognize its importance and the potential that it holds. Now, as I referred to, Nick and a number of others in terms of senior officers are now in place to bring that additional expertise and access it. And also they've got unrivaled experience of delivering complex, high profile regeneration schemes, including the Royal Docks in London, Olympic Park developments, which also comes with the right network of contacts, including heavyweight investors. So in the last few weeks, months, we've been soft market testing a number of sites across the city centre to attract the best investors who will deliver our £1 billion regeneration programme. And it will not surprise you to learn that North Westgate is one of the strategic sites which we've been showing investors around just a few days ago. If you're really eagle-eyed and spotted the chief executive and Nick walking around the town with people. So look, there's considerable interest in a number of sites, and that one in particular, which is a big step forward from where we were a year ago. We're now turning our attention to selecting the best development partners, which you would agree, I hope, that we've got to have the right people to deliver this, and the right sequence of sites to bring forward, as well as looking at the innovative use of our statutory powers, such as compulsory purchase, so that we can make it easier for the best possible outcome to be delivered by world-class developers. We also have a significant amount of government funding, both already secured and committed, and other funding bids, which we await the outcome of, to prime the regeneration programme. It really is an exciting time for Peterborough at a crucial market phase, and we've a leading team in the country working flat out to make it happen. The reality is that the development takes some time, and it will be some months before we start to see visible signs of redevelopment in and around the city centre, but we are building interest and momentum amongst those investors I spoke about a moment ago. Now, in terms of North Westgate in particular, which you asked about, I will be asking for a meeting. Letters are being drafted, if they've not already gone, with Hawksworth, who's one of the main developers of the site, that has shown or had ownership or an interest in that site for 27 years. So I want to discuss the options with all landowners, but it's also important to remember that this is, as I said, a site that the council don't own. It is not a major landowner, and that has been a hindrance to our kind of progress that we seem to have got stuck with. So let me tell you, so we're keeping all the options open, including, as I said, if necessary, compulsory purchasing the whole site through lawful and legal proper channels, which, if that's the only way to get this done, then I'm determined as the leader of the council to make sure it's done. I can give you some further background. I asked personally probably 3 years ago, maybe 4, that the council started compulsory purchase proceedings in order to, let's say, get to today, where we would have had the land or all the site amassed, and that we could then work with a developer that could bring the development forward. What I need is somebody with a track record of delivery and deep pockets. You know, the council is financially challenged, so it won't be a public sector redevelopment scheme, but there are plenty of people just sitting by the side at the moment, looking at Peterborough, seeing how we can work together. And that's great that they have the confidence in the city. So I hope what I've said to you, and it's really a bit of an exclusive, that I've also, the press were interested in your question and what we were to talk about tonight. So I am giving an undertaking that if it's within my gift to do so, I will do whatever is necessary to kickstart this redevelopment.
Well, thank you for that. I've heard reassurances before. As I said in my question, I mean, I have been told in the past by your predecessors, by officers in the past, that, you know, something's happening. We've had plans for the Gladstone district, sometimes been quite expensive to produce. I've got behind me on the bookshelves, there are reports that have been taken. I've been involved with something called Gladstone Connect, before that Gladca, on these sorts of issues. But also I'm aware that the Peterborough Civic Society has been pressing on these issues. And it really is, I mean, it's more than disappointing. It's almost, you know, almost despair that anything's happening. I actually lived at number, I can't remember, in Cromwell Road. Anyway, some of the houses being bricked up when I came here more than 50 years ago, in a little house there. It was an acquired house by Peterborough Development Corporation, and that's why my wife and I rented it, and we were happy to live there. But we knew it was short term. We knew it was short term because something's going to happen to it. And that was then. And now, you know, I think that house is still there, or it's on the point of being demolished. It's certainly boarded up, and it looks you know, and it looks
Yes.
a real eyesore.
It's not good. I agree.
It's not just about for those of us who live here or work here. It's actually for the whole city. That area really deserves more than a facelift. It needs some real investment. There have been plans. I'm aware of plans by Hawksworth, but it didn't come to any. I've been in touch with Hawksworth and talked with them. They seemed, oh, they're going to do this and do that, but nothing ever happened because it was going to be a cinema here. And then instead, the Queensgate decided to have their cinema, and I'm not sure whether that's ever going to happen. I mean, it's just a kind of a whole history of kind of either missed opportunities and just disappointments. And I really think that if the City Council really wants to do something about it, it's okay if we're going to huge improvements to the station quarter, but we're right next door to the station quarter, and it really needs something happening, and it needs to happen pretty soon.
I'll bring Nick in a second, but just a couple of points. I don't know you well, you don't know me well, but the fact is I've never given you any undertakings. And when I give undertakings, I want them delivered. The other issue, and it's a very important issue, and you mustn't underestimate what I've just said to you, that the City Council doesn't own the land.
Yep,
sure. But I'm going to make sure if these people don't come to the table, we will own the land. Therefore, that is a big difference, that whatever anybody has told you before is not within their gift if they can't bring all the different parties together who have vested interests in one way or another, and nothing has happened. You then have inertia. So the difference in what I'm telling you tonight, we will do what is needed to make sure this goes forward, which is the City Council's legal, lawful right to do so, particularly in these circumstances. Nick, do you want to come in and explain who you are for Mr. Just here, and say whatever you want to say about the particular project, or any comments you might like to make in the wider terms about regeneration and growth of the city and how important it is?
Thank you, Councillor. Yeah, and I completely understand the frustration of residents. The site has been sitting there for 27 years, waiting to come forward to development. I think it's got huge strategic importance to the city centre as well, because that is a gateway from the station into the city centre. So it's really important that that site comes forward, and even more so now that we've secured £48 million in levelling up funding to reconfigure and redevelop our station quarter. And I would say that those two sites need to come forward together to provide a real gateway to what is a fantastic city at the end of the day. And environmentally, that site is, it's very challenging. There's boarded up properties there. It's not legible at the moment, and that means that it doesn't have any kind of plan to it, and so it's crying out for a regeneration. I think Councillor Fitzgerald is absolutely right. What we need to do is to assemble the site. The site needs to be assembled so that it's within at least one structure of partnership approach. There's one structure for it, and we will look at all possibilities for actually bringing that forward and how we might be able to do that. And I think the first stage is to invite the majority landowner in for a meeting to start with, and to also engage with the other landowners there. And to see if we can plot a roadmap forward for it, because I can't emphasise enough that Peterborough is starting to go places. It has some great regeneration that's been done already. We have significant funding coming in, and we have significant interest from a lot of investment partners now who really do see an opportunity in Peterborough. Not least because of the links back to London and the train links further north into the country as well. So it's risen up the agenda, considerably with the reconfiguration of the station quarter, and you will see some traction on that site over the coming months. And I hope that we'll be able to report some good news to you. And you'll see a scheme starting to be developed, and in the end actually being built out as well. So that's all I'd really add to this at the moment, unless there's any questions about that. So yeah, I'll hand that back to you, Councillor.
David, by all means, ask any questions of Nick if you'd like to as well.
And Nick might remember that I did make the same kind of point at an interesting meeting that Mr. Adrian Chapman organised at the council offices some weeks ago. Unfortunately, I can't go to the next meeting, but I did explain that. But I thought it was well worth asking you as leader, and I'm really pleased that you are determined to get something done, and you know that's very good. I just feel that those of us who live in this area or work in the area. So I mean, there are two schools. Well, there's one major school, and there's places of worship and so on. But there's a lot of people live here, and there are a lot of little shops, and they're crying out for somebody to care for them. And I hope that a redevelopment not only includes these big finance people coming in to do whatever it is they do, office blocks or whatever, but also that something includes support for improvement to the existing housing stock.
Okay, again, just an observation, of course. I suppose why I'm saying this, because if I look back over the 27 years, I can't honestly say that the current owners of the land, whether the individual or together, for whatever reason, they have no track record of getting anything done. So there is a final opportunity for them now, which is what I'm saying. And to be fair, we want to work in partnership with these people, as Nick just said, because we are the council, we are responsible people. But what I'm saying is, if that doesn't happen, we need to take it in ourselves and make sure it happens. Now, you'll look around the city and, you'll remember Fletton Quays and how long that languished in the doldrums, and, with those talk of universities for all sorts of time. Well, these things have happened, and they've happened quite quickly, quite recently, where, all the stars have aligned. So there is a track record of the council delivering on these major projects. There are just so many of them, though, which is fantastic, which is why we're growing, which is why people want to come here, start a business here, and live their life here. Because Peterborough is an attractive place, and I will talk to the high heavens about what a great city we live in. We've got problems, but who hasn't? But we've got a fantastic, city in terms of we have beautiful heritage in our cathedral, and we've got great parks and open spaces with the Neame Park Trust, all gifted, and handed down through the Development Corporation, all the leisure aspects. So it really is fantastic, and I don't buy when people run the place down. So all I can say to you, David, is, you've not heard it from me. We have been delivering as an administration, and there are plans, even though it's difficult, to keep that momentum going, to attract government funding, attract private investment from the private sector, private funding, I should say, from the private sector. And hopefully we can pull all this together and you will see some progress, because unless we bang a few heads together, it's not happening, is it?
Okay, right. Well,
by all means, if you want to listen to the questions as well.
When something's announced, or when there's some sort of consultation about a scheme that really is going to happen, Councillor, I'd really look forward to coming and shaking you by the hand.
Good. Well,
and Mr. Carter,
by the way, can I have both hands? Look, by all means, stay on and listen to the other questions. And just a reminder,
I shall listen. I've went for a while. It's almost
for people just tuning into the rebroadcast of this on YouTube. I'm Wayne Fitzgerald. I'm the leader of Peterborough City Council, and this is something that we do every month. It's called Ask the Leader. It's your chance, whoever you are. Ideally, if you live in Peterborough, it's even better. So you can ask me anything you like. I know most things, but not everything. So I have the support of a team like Nick Carter here, Amanda and Charlotte, who helped put all this together. So I'll move on to question 2, because we got to crack on at quite a pace tonight. It's from Cynthia White, who can't be here. So she has asked that Amanda, who is from our communications team, put the question to me, and I will endeavour to reply. Amanda.
Yeah, so the question from Cynthia is, the government wants the over 50s who are currently not working to go back to work. What retraining schemes, if any, are currently in place to make this happen? What has been done to ensure the right people are aware that such schemes are in place?
Rather topical, considering the government announcements in the budget today about those people looking to retire, or, you know, when you get to 50, they get a bit nervous about the precipice of old age and retirement. Well, I think the government is stepping up and encouraging people. Many talented people. I heard the Chancellor make a joke about Madam Deputy Speaker in the House today at age, and, you know, how old and wise brains are very valuable to have around. But there are a number of options in the city. So Peterborough receives 3.5 million in adult education budget every year from the Cambridgeshire and Peterborough Combined Authority, where I'm a member of that, representing the city. Peterborough College, Further Education, and City College Council-run adult community learning services receive the bulk of this funding to plan and deliver all-age lifelong learning programs. The programs they deliver are relevant and have progression pathways with clear lines of sight into employment. In addition to the 2 colleges, there are a range of independent training providers in Peterborough, Shaw Trust, Ixion, Steadfast Training, and TCHC. Again, these providers offer a range of all-age provision to support local people. The CPCA colleges and independent training providers all have their own marketing platforms, websites, and social media channels, of course, like most people nowadays. The CPCA, Cambridge and Peterborough Combined Authority for, I won't use acronyms, try not to, is currently working on a strategic piece of work with the Department for Work and Pensions around the economically inactive cohort, including 50 plus. Again, right back to what government is talking about, which could include the midlife MOT approach. Who knew there was one? I heard it for the first time myself today. I probably need one every week, the way I feel some mornings. Now that will launch in due course with its own marketing and awareness campaign. There's also the Skills Boot Camp program, and some may be suitable for the over 50s looking to retrain, and they can be found largely online. So I hope, Cynthia, when you watch this back, that gives you some inspiration and comfort that there are places you can go, and you can always contact me if you need any specific advice. I'll point the right people in the right direction for you to give you any answers. But the colleges are the place primarily, and some of the private providers. So I hope that answers. Again, so we'll move on very quickly with Ask the Leader. Get in touch if you want to. It's email me, asktheleader@peterborough.gov.uk, and maybe you could be on here, like David here tonight, or just asking, get one of the team to ask a question if you're a bit camera shy, and we do them every month. So anyway, question 3 is from Gary Wesley. He also can't be here tonight to ask it himself. So again, Amanda, hit me with the next question.
Yeah, so Gary said, I'm very concerned about the parking situation in Chadburn, Paston. I have photos of an area just off the road near Tesco. While walking to the nearby health centre, I was nearly knocked down by someone coming to park her car in the said area. The lady driver asked me in no uncertain terms what I was doing walking there, as she thought it was for Tesco parking. The other concerns are the parking of cars on the pavement and the road, where the council spent a vast amount of money resurfacing the road a few years ago now and putting double yellow lines on it. But nothing has happened. Nothing has deterred people from parking there. What can be done about it before someone gets seriously injured?
Oh dear. Well, again, I can sympathise and empathise with your concerns, Gary. It is a worry particularly around children and, cars and pavements, and they just don't really go that well together. So it's a frustration I share, and I know many people across the city will also share with you. So the council's parking team have told me that they can attend to issue penalty notices, of course, on cars parked illegally on the double yellow lines. However, the vehicle in the picture provided appears to be displaying a disabled person's badge, which would allow them to park on double yellow lines for up to 3 hours. Any obstruction of the pavement or driving on the pavement would be a matter for the police and not the council, which is always very frustrating when I have to tell people that actually we have no powers to do anything or prosecute people. But you can commit yourself to keep us on the radar, keep sending pictures, keep making a note of what happens in your area, because it builds up a picture which the council can then enforce or put further resource into if they've got the evidence to back up that there are indeed problems. So again, thanks for your question, Gary. And I'm sorry I can't give you more of a confident kind of solution, but it's a very troubling problem, I know. Amanda, I think we're going to move on quickly to question 4. And this is from Darren Johnson, who also can't be here tonight.
Yeah, so Darren's question is, why is it every other car park in Peterborough has number plate technology, pay by the app, yet St Martin House, which is used for the football, does not? 4 very slow pay machines, of which only one was working last Tuesday. There is often queues and delays to get out. Surely this is a very simple fix.
Because we park in there as well, and I know exactly what you mean. It's really frustrating. More times than often I can never get out. I've got to press the little buzzer or something doesn't work, and it is really frustrating. But just let me tell you about technology, where we're going. So on all our car parks, I'll come back to this one in particular in a minute, we want to use pay on exit. So ANPR will know what time you came in and what time you came out, and you will be charged accordingly, which is far better when it all works, of course. So unless a barrier breaks down. So the council want to move to that kind of system about ANPR technology in its surface car parks. Now I can't see why we couldn't do the same in the one at St Martin, to be honest, because it is very slow, it's very frustrating, and I want more people to use the car park, but I don't want to make it more difficult for them to do so. It's only recently I directed the teams in parking services elsewhere. Why aren't we putting signage up for the car park for football users? Because we were losing a revenue opportunity, but it is really frustrating, as I say. So it's got barrier control, the parking people tell me, which is used in all our other car parks. But pay and display is not available for use, and payphone operates on the principle of pay on arrival for a set period of time. So there are some differences. However, St Martin House is pay on exit, where you pay for how long you've actually been parked, with what I was saying, but we should be able to make it easier. So I'm going to be tasking the team to try and improve matters. So we are exploring all the options about app phone-based payment options for that particular car park as well. So, or as I said, I'd like to go ANPR. So, you can pay for what you have and you're in and out as quick as a flash. So leave it with us. I can't give you the satisfactory solution today, but I will task officers, and Amanda will make a note, to try and make sure that all the machines are working and all the barriers are working, and if not, get them fixed as soon as possible. So thanks for your question. You are listening to Ask the Leader. Probably 3 more questions to go, and I've just realized Nick is sitting here patiently. Nick, 3 questions, stick with it, or if you have to go, it's probably EastEnders is on or something, or whatever it is officers do at this time of night. You can disappear.
I don't watch it, Councillor. I'm happy to stay and see what's going on.
That's dedication for you. So I think we're moving on to our 5th question, and we've had 7 tonight, so it's been a bit of a bumper night. Darren Lawton, he can't be here as well tonight. He may be off on holiday, or he could be camera shy, but Amanda will ask the question for him.
Yeah, this is actually something I've wanted to ask Wayne. So I'm pleased that Darren has asked this question, because I wanted to. So Darren wrote to us and said, out of genuine interest, why is the new bridge near Fort Wood built out of metal, but the other one on Bretton Way, about half a mile away, is made from concrete? Surely one material is better than the other. I'm very interested in the rationale behind this.
Well, bridges have caused a lot of commotion and interest over the coming months. I had the pleasure, if you want to call it that, of meeting with a highways agency team in Cambridge not too long ago to talk about the strategic direction of roads in this region, along with many other people from other councils that were there. And as soon as I said who's responsible for the bridge on the A47, he went, "Oh, that'll be me." And he was very embarrassed. And I met him again about 10 days ago when I attended the opening of the bridge on the A47. And there's been a lot of reasons. I'm not going to embarrass them and go into them all, but I know they were less than happy themselves with the way that the job had progressed. But the question itself, and in terms of the other bridge, which has been done by the City Council, by the way, and the other one wasn't, so we must make that distinction, went in very quickly. We had a bit of a wind issue one weekend and we had to postpone it. But I'll tell you what the technical or physical answer is. So the footbridge over the A47 Soak Parkway is owned and managed by the National Highways Agency as part of the trunk road network. The new bridge over the A1260, which is the Neen Parkway at Thorpe Wood, Junction 15, is a council asset and will be maintained by the council. So, as I said, you can see straight away that there is a difference in terms of each organisation's responsibilities for each scheme. The design life for both concrete and steel structures is 120 years based on the recommendations given in the current design standards. Different materials and designs will be used depending on the location and other factors. There are many factors that go into deciding what kind of bridge is built. Steel structures are generally significantly lighter than concrete ones of a similar size. Therefore, the foundations are not as large and is easier to transport and lift the structural elements in larger unit sizes that work for that particular location. A concrete beam deck would typically have the structural elements, concrete beams, beneath the deck level, meaning you have to dig deeper into the ground, and therefore the ramps need to be longer to comply with the standard gradient constraints. The CPCA colleges and independent training providers. Oh no, sorry, I've read that bit. I thought it went on to another page, but it will all be counted in terms of the longer ramps, I should say, to comply with the standard gradient constraints as well. They're basically different types of bridges and construction. The A47 is a major trunk road, attracting far more traffic than the Neen Parkway, far more HGVs. Therefore, it's much sturdier and needs to be, you know, if you imagine an accident on the A47 and the kind of volumes of traffic there, it cost an absolute fortune to build that bridge on the A47. I think if you watch my video online, I think the figure was quoted as about 8.5 million. So it's a significant number, whereas the A1260 Neen Parkway was significantly less than that. But I think it's what suits the location, what the risk assessments are, what the highways engineers say is acceptable in terms of design. So that's all I can say about it, really. As I say, it just is what it is, and I'm glad. The positive thing is they're now both built. There we go. So I think we've got we got 2 questions left, Amanda. I kind of slipped over a page, yeah. I think. So
yeah, 2 more. The next one, so the 6th question tonight is from Jack, who once again can't be here, so it's me again. So Jack wanted to ask, what is being done about the increasing level of litter at the sides and in the central reservation of the parkways? There has been a number of missed opportunities recently to carry out litter picks while roads have been closed, like the A47. I have also raised a number of Fix My Street reports for the A47 bypass between Castor Flyover and Aylesworth Roundabout that is in an awful state of affairs, a really unwelcoming sign to our city.
Okay, by the way, the cost of the other bridge was at 2 million. I just found the figure quoted as opposed to 8.5, which around that. So on this particular question, we get lots of questions about litter and fly tipping, and it's good. And, you know, I'll always start by reminding people the council don't drop litter or fly tip. Our job is to pick it up. So we currently litter pick all council-owned high-speed roads twice a year. I'd like to do more, but that means you would have to pay double your council tax. And I'm sure people don't want to do that in times of austerity as well now, and an economic crisis. But it's a common, you know, we have to spend the money we have wisely. Also, on those high-speed roads like parkways, we've got to look after the safety of all the staff and make sure that they are safe, whether they're litter picking or cutting grass or road sweeping, which is another thing. Detritus, you know, how often we do the road sweeping, which is another question being asked of me at the moment elsewhere. The cost of traffic management to do that is extremely high, which is one of the reasons it's only done twice a year. Working on the high-speed road network, especially on foot and not in a vehicle, is extremely dangerous. So we must ensure the safety of all our staff and make sure we protect them. We also have to request road space to be able to have traffic management, and this is not always granted due to works that could be happening on other areas of the network. So Aragon is currently working on the plan for this year's grass cutting and litter picking, and we're in consultation with National Highways on getting road space book to litter pick, for example, the A47, which is a challenge in itself. This is obviously a large cost to the authority to do that, so which is incurred due to, as I said, the antisocial behaviour of people chucking stuff out their cars or leaving stuff behind that they shouldn't. I don't do it, so I don't expect other people to do it, which is why you should take everything home with you and bin it. The litter picking week is coming up soon, which there are many, you know, councillors of all parties. It's not just the Conservatives, it's many parties that go out litter picking with groups in wards all over the city, which is truly fantastic. So that is coming up. We are supporting a litter picking week, which is supported by several community groups, including the Peterborough Litter Wombles, and that's being held between the 25th of March and the 1st of April. I would also say our spring clean, where we're putting an extra 120,000 in to cleaning up the city. We used to do it, but slowly the budget's been eroded. I've made sure that we try to find the budget to redo it by moving things around internally. And it's great because it puts a real focus on areas where they're particularly grotty. And again, if you want to suggest an area, just email me, asktheleader@peterborough.gov.uk. If you've got an area, we can't guarantee to do them all, but at least send us some pictures and we can share that with the team, and maybe they could consider coming to your area. Now, the campaign, by the way, will be launched at the Town Hall on the 25th of March with a special event from 10 till 4, featuring stalls from groups like PECT, PCC, Aragon, Recoup, and the Wombles themselves, highlighting the work they do to clean up litter and catch fly tippers. So if you'd like to get involved with that or come along to an event where litter picking equipment will be provided, you can then carry out said litter pick throughout the week, and all bags collected will be counted by ward with certificates awarded for the largest haul, which the council will also then arrange the collection of litter. So it's great. Again, another positive community bit of action going on by just ordinary folks just like you. And ordinary folks just like you can contact me, Wayne Fitzgerald, leader of the Peterborough City Council. Ask me anything you like and ask the leader at peterborough.gov.uk. We move on to what I believe is the final question. Again, litter and waste related, but Amanda, it's the question is from Ian McRobert, who I think has been in touch with me directly as well, but for completeness, we'll read out his question, won't you?
Yeah, so Ian's question is, why can't I get a reliable weekly bin collection? We have 24 flats with 4 large communal bins. On Black Bin Tuesday, these get emptied along with normal black bins. On Green Bin Tuesday, we don't have a collection. We are supposed to have one on Wednesdays instead. Too often we don't, and I have to remind the council. Last week, we finally got a collection on Friday, by which time the bins were overflowing. This is a regular occurrence since you changed the system a year ago.
Well, I don't know what system he's you're referring to, Ian, or what happened previously. All I know is this, from what I'm told from Aragon, is that you just happen to live in a block of apartments that doesn't recycle, and our waste collections are fortnightly. 1 week it's the black bin, the rubbish, the stuff we burn generally, and the following is the green bin. Now, if you're not doing any, then that's why you're missing out. So I did say in a replied email that I've already done to you that you should talk to the management company that are handling the waste, because there is no reason why that they should not have 2 sets of bins either, so that you and others can recycle like everybody else. I'm not sure it's appropriate that council makes special exceptions because we expect everybody to recycle in terms of the green bins and black bin, general waste, refuse the other week. However, we'll try and find a solution. And I know that Aragon are looking and talking with the management company for the flats where you live, but it can't do everything for free. So I think it is up to the management to come up with a solution, and officers at the council will work with them in order to effect your collections of waste on a weekly basis, 1 week green, 1 week black. Everybody else in the city knows it's that. So just stay patient. Let's try find a solution and work with all the teams within Aragon and within the people that look after or manage the flats where you live. So I know that's going on. So I hope it gets resolved, and I'll try and keep an eye on that through my cabinet member for waste, which is Councillor Nigel Simons. So you can always drop him a line as well if you've got any particular suggestions. But thanks to everybody tonight for taking part in person, or indeed sending in a question that we've answered them. That we quickly whipped through 7 in all. I know I must separate my papers a little bit better because they're all double-sided printed. Very bad of me to do that, really, but I'll have to do them one at a time. So look, if you want to take part in the next edition, all you need to do is email me, Wayne Fitzgerald. I'm the leader of Peterborough City Council. And just all you need to say is ask the leader at peterborough.gov.uk, and your question will get through to the team. And then hopefully I might see you online, or certainly give you an answer next time. But in the meantime, thanks for watching.